Hello everybody, welcome. So today's exercise is called the Comparison Critic, and we're going to attempt to tackle that harsh habit we have that drives us to compare ourselves to others constantly. So that's the goal here for this exercise, is to have a look at what's driving us, what's motivating us, what's causing us to continually be in this state. And we all know how terrible it feels to compare ourselves to other people, and how hurtful it can be to yourself, and how harsh it can be to yourself to constantly be in this state. It's exhausting, really. So what we're going to do in today's exercise is start by having you really imagine for a moment. Use your imagination and pretend that you lost the ability to compare. So you can no longer measure yourself up against that person or this person. And when you're out and about, no negative thoughts come regarding yourself in comparison to others. So just for a moment, close your eyes and get into this place. This is a really good way to discover what's motivating your behavior. So imagine you can no longer compare yourself to others, and no negative thoughts about yourself come into your mind. Now, what I want you to do is feel how that feels. I imagine it's quite a lovely feeling to just be present to each moment and situation. But I want you to go towards any discomfort you might be having. So sit there and feel, what is uncomfortable about this situation? Or what would I lose if I were to behave this way all of the time? Just sit with that and see what bubbles up. It's not an easy question to ask yourself, but it's worth it. So maybe for some of you, what comes up is that, well, how will you know how you fit in? You would lose your ability to determine whether or not you're fitting in with your environment. So the motivation there is, well, I'm going to compare myself constantly to others to make sure I fit in, because when I fit in, I'm loved, I'm accepted, I'm cared for. Right? That could be one motivation. Another common one is that maybe you'll let yourself go. There's a fear that you'll let yourself go even more than you do now, or you think you do, right? So if you couldn't compare yourself to others, you wouldn't have any motivation for keeping yourself fit or healthy or looking good or whatever it is for you. Or maybe it's that situation where I'm going to beat everyone to the punch. In other words, if I'm aware and I can identify all my own flaws by comparing myself to others, then I can't really ever be hurt by another person when I'm out, putting myself out there. So I'll get myself first before others can get me. Maybe that's the drive. Or maybe you have something else. The key here is to be able to answer that question, and when you have the answer, you'll become very clear at what the driving motivation is behind your habit of constantly comparing yourself. And when you can bring that into conscious awareness, you can start to use that in situations. That awareness bubbles up for you in situations where your habit is to go start to compare, and ideally over time you will realize that it's not really serving you. So the challenge here for today is to see if you can go an entire day without comparing yourself to anyone, even in a good way. Even when you're comparing yourself in a good way, it's out of lack, because if you're looking for ways in which you're better than other people, it's stemming from a fear of lack. So no comparison for one entire day.